This underrated opening makes you unstoppable under 2000 elo. Forget about opening problems once and for all. It starts with the move d6. It's called the Philidor defense. Once I have started to play it, I have got 500 elo points plus to my rating. My students have finally achieved their goals thanks to it. They can play different stuff for you, but you don't care. It's like one of the biggest advantages of this opening. You just play the same stuff. So here you play e5 and you immediately challenge this pawn. They play d5. Yeah, that is a very weird move. I never understand, but a lot of players under 2000 elo are playing that. By the way, we play against 2030 elo rated player. Perfect to illustrate my point how great this opening is against such opponents. And of course, if you're anywhere below 2000, it's gonna work wonders for you. Yep, just play bishop e7. The reason I don't like it, because at least this pawn puts some pressure and you can attack this pawn. But if you play d5, this is nothing. It can never work. Yes, you can play c4, but I don't care. In fact, I'm gonna show you the exact plan. Here, we are gonna try to place our knight on c5, and because the center is completely closed, we need to attack, right? And we can play this move f5 and to establish our attack. Let's see how I'm gonna do that. I cover this line as well as so many others in my 10-day opening mastery, opening course, where you can build an entire holistic lifetime opening repertoire, both for white and black, based not on memorization, but understanding the key ideas that I'm gonna explain to you in all details. The link is in the description. Grab your limited spot, 50% off right now, and a full month of live coaching with me included. All right, so here is how it works. You put your knight over here, you attack the bishop immediately. If they don't go away, you can take it. And then once we are going to open up the position, these two bishops are going to be so strong. Otherwise, if he goes away, always play a5. We could have even played it before playing knight c5, because we want to stop this move before. The knight is like our star, our best piece. So you never allow your opponent to kick it out. Right? You need to make sure that your knight is there, it's controlling all of the space, and it cannot be attacked. Very, very important. It's like a foundation for us to build our attack afterwards. Okay, he's actually attacking himself. I don't like it. I think he's gonna get in trouble with that very fast. I'm gonna take it immediately. Because now I'm gonna have this e5 square. I don't even need to play f5 anymore. The situation has changed. Now the center is opened. But instead, I can play something like knight g4. I could have taken, that's fine. I don't want to help him, you know, improve his development, accelerate it. But I want to place my bishop over here, like just think what kind of a monster it's going to be there. And I want to place my knight on e5, like think if those knights are together in the center, how strong, how powerful they are. He can play h3 immediately, probably, but just bishop, knight to e5, I don't care. If he takes, I'm going to take it back. I'm going to have two bishops in the position that is pretty open. This bishop is, yeah, it's going to destroy everything on its way. So f4, when your king is still in the center, don't open up the center like that. You're going to be destroyed. Now it's under attack twice. If you go backwards, I'm going to grab this spot. I mean, those bishops are just monsters. The only little drawback is that I haven't played a5 first still, so he can play b4 indeed. But that is not a big problem. I can play knight d7 and then place the second knight on e5, and like there would be control on absolutely everything. And I'm just a pawn up. It's only move number 11, and as black, you already destroy your opponent. That's exactly the type of the result you're gonna get once you join the 10-day opening mastery. And follow the system that I give you from the very first move till the checkmate. All right, I think I'm gonna take it. I mean, bishop h4, g3, knight f3 check. I don't want that. I want just to take. Be happy about it. Okay, queen d4 is another way to go about it. Create at least some problems for me. But this queen can easily be attacked later on. Can I just grab another pawn? I know it's very greedy, but like, why not? I just need to make sure that my knight survives. And I think it does. Like rook b1, I'm gonna play bishop f6. And you need to control both of those squares because my knight can go there, and you cannot do it at the same time. Like d4 is literally the only square. If you play a5, I'm gonna just take everything and win your queen in the end with knight d3. You just cannot do that with your king in the center. Let me go for it. Yes, bishop f6. Why do you play so fast? You have 15 minutes for the whole game. Take some time. Think about your moves first. Now, it's a dream case scenario. Your king is completely safe, whereas he has opened up everything. Yeah, I think... Ah, wait, one thing I forgot. This knight is actually also hanging. I do get a lot of pawns, but yeah, I forgot that this guy is hanging. Okay, then let's... Actually takes. No, that's a big mistake. I think after queen c5, I'm still better here for sure, because his king is still so weak. He's gonna have a lot of problems. I have two bishops. I'm gonna attack him all over the place. But that was still a chance. Now I just take it. And you cannot physically take it because you lose your queen. So he takes like that, probably with an idea that this knight still cannot be saved. I don't believe in it. I think I have some idea starting with this. And then queen c4. No. That doesn't work. Do I have something better? I mean, it's a check, the most active move. b6. Oops, b6. Because he still has to control that square, right? So he would go somewhere here. No, I don't like it. I like queen h4 check. g3, I can even take it. Grabbing yet another pawn, why not? As long as you do everything with the check, there is nothing bad can happen to you. Yeah, but that is not helping you at all, because knight c4 is now yet another check. I think it might easily be checkmated in a few moves. Because if you go here, queen g5 check, right? You cannot block it. And if you go to d1, it's queen d2 immediately checkmate. So this is exactly what happens when you put pressure on your opponent, just destroy him from the opening if he is not careful, if he's opening too much. But what if he plays normally? How to crush him in this case? I'm gonna share a very powerful idea with you in this video, so stay tuned. What if they go for e4, the knight f3? Yeah, I think it's gonna transpose into the main line. We play e5, but please, if they play bishop c4, don't blunder. Don't play here knight d7. You might play it automatically because you do it against d4, but that would be a huge problem. They're gonna play knight g5 and just destroy you over here. You can never, like, if e5 is the main pawn that you can never blunder in this opening, well, then f7 is like even more important, if I am allowed to say that, because if the knight goes here, you lose absolutely everything. But you only need the move knight to d7 once they attack the pawn. Very simple to remember. If they attack, you defend. If they don't attack, you don't defend. You play bishop e7 instead, and after knight g5, you're ready to just castle and solve all of the problems. d3, okay, that is nothing dangerous for us. They are not even fighting for the center, and I would argue we are already overtaking the initiative. Why? Well, because of this stupid knight on c3. We don't have such a one. If I would have played knight to c6, we would have exactly the symmetrical position. But thanks to this knight going here, where you remember it's going to be very strong, and this pawn on c6, we have very cool options. We can play d5, we can play b5. b5 is a very typical counterplay that I want you to remember. That is why I'm gonna play it. Later, you can play a5 immediately. I'm threatening just to play a4 and win the bishop. So he has to react somehow, but then I can play b4. That wins time, so he has to go backwards. And then I'm gonna bring my knight to c5 and attack this guy. Again, win some time. Yeah, let's just do it. Either he allows this trade, but then his pawn structure is very horrible, or he needs to waste even more time. Although if you go to c4, I'm gonna play d5 again with the tempo. d5 is like the best move we can ever make in the Philidor defense. If you can make it and control the full center, this is a dream case scenario for you. Yeah, at least he remaneuvered this knight over here, where it's much more useful than on c3, but that takes a lot of time, so it has drawbacks as well. If he ever goes knight f5, we just take it. Don't worry about it. We are going to have two central pawns. We haven't wasted any time with this bishop. So yeah, then we are going to just somehow orchestrate the attack in the center. That would be really cool. But if you go backwards, I can even take this pawn. Like, don't be afraid of bishop f7. We are going to take it. He's going to take back. But the material is equal. We have won a pair of bishops advantage, and we can continue our counterplay attack on the queen side in the center. So that would be cool for us. So basically, I would argue he doesn't have a good way to deal with the problem already here. Either the pawn structure is going to be ruined, or he's gonna lose a pawn, he's gonna lose two bishops advantage. Something is gonna happen to him. And it's only move number 11. We already create so many huge problems for the opponent. Okay, he decided to go for this. Maybe it's the least evil out of all. Hard to say, but I think we are doing very good here. Okay, how do you actually convert? It's only the beginning. Important is how do we bring it home. So we cannot win those pawns immediately, and that's not the point. We just use them to restrict our opponent's initiative, counterplay. At this point, we are okay to play c5. Like, you normally never touch this pawn because you don't want to allow these knights to get to d5 or b5. But here we don't have any knight anymore. All of them are here, so far from the d5 square, like I cannot even imagine that happening. So c5 is possible. That way we don't have any weaknesses anymore, like rook c1, stuff like that. Or we can wait with that, see what's gonna happen. I like this move g6 personally, because that restricts this knight, it cannot go anywhere. I'm not afraid of like bishop h6, okay, I'm gonna go away. But this knight cannot do anything now. And if he plays rook c1 or queen c2, then I want to play c5 and control everything over here. Now the question becomes, what should be my plan? I think, funny enough, it's going to be attacking over here, because everything is closed over there. Everything is very solid for me, so I have a few ideas. I can remaneuver this knight somewhere to d4, where it's going to be very strong. Yeah, he kind of stops me from doing that. But this bishop on h6 also is not going to be great. And I can still remaneuver my knight something like that. By the way, it would be very good here. And then we have knight d4 ideas. If he takes, I'm gonna take it back and yeah, fight for the c file. This b3 pawn will be always a weakness. We don't need to attack it immediately, but it's always like a headache for our opponent. Quite a big one, because if that pawn falls, the entire pawn structure collapses. And I don't see any active ideas for him. Like, the only thing I can imagine, this knight goes away and he plays a4. But that is going to open up this entire diagonal for my guy here. So also not that great. At least he can get this knight to c4. That I like for him. I have to give him that. But I'm also going to execute my plan. Okay, he's dreaming about some checkmating ideas. But what if I play bishop e6 and attack that pawn? Do you just go back? I think I'm gonna do it. It's like full 2 tempi if that happens. Otherwise, I'm gonna be happy to win a pawn. I don't have any costs here. Like, yes, you have to acknowledge what your opponent is doing. You need to try to understand what he wants to achieve, but don't be intimidated by that. Ask yourself, is it really dangerous what he can do? And if it's not, then don't be afraid. Yes, he goes backwards, but now I go knight d7, I'm stopping knight g5, and I'm potentially getting ready for f5, the move I had in my plans. So you see, depending on what my opponent is doing, I'm kind of switching plans a little bit. Because now this square is not available, but I can still go knight b8 and knight c6, why not? He's so passive that I don't see what he can do anyway. Yeah, he finally goes to c4. So now I have a choice between f5 and knight b8 and knight c6. What kind of plan do I like more? If I can get this pawn to f4, that would be a really cool achievement. Then he literally cannot do anything at all. But I think he's either gonna take it or play f4. If he's gonna take it, I think it's also good for me. I just take it back. Yeah, f4. I don't want to open up too much, because then my king might be in some kind of trouble. The f5 pawn is going to be a weakness. I can start with bishop g5 for sure. that kind of stops that f4 idea for the time being, and then continue with the f5 plan, but he has knight c4, and that pawn I don't want to lose. This is my like base pawn that is holding everything together. If I play that, he plays f4. I never should allow f5. So I have to take, rook takes, knight c6. I mean, I'm still coming. Once the knight is on d4, it's so powerful. He can stop it with knight d2. But I have ideas like bishop g5. No, I think it's great for me. This bishop on e6 is really cool if it cannot be attacked. And I made sure it can't. And now I play knight c6, where it's gonna neutralize the activity of this guy. And if he plays something passive like that, then I'm hopefully ready for something really active. And by the way, once he takes here, then d5 is going to come with the tempo, attacking this knight, pushing it back. The more time you can win, the better it gets. Every single time you can go forward and create a threat for the opponent, and he has to go backwards and be very passive. This is really cool achievement, big progress for you. So do I go for f5? I think I do. His pieces are far away from creating big problems for my king. I have a lot of defenders for my king, so why on earth should I be afraid of him? I think I shouldn't. I'm gonna even, once he takes, play king h8, rook g8, and try to create some troubles for his king. But if he doesn't take, then I'm gonna just play f4. And I mean, this guy is completely stuck. I'm gonna just continue this attack without any counterplay. Yeah, so he has to do something. Maybe it's even a better version for him to play f4 without taking on f5. I should never take. That should never happen. Unless I'm winning something immediately, of course. d5, also I don't like that he can take. So what do? Probably just king h8, continue my plan. Maybe rook g8, bishop f6. Like, I just improve my position. Whenever he takes something, that helps me because I am the one with a pair of bishops. The whole advantage of having two bishops is that when the position is opening up, they are becoming monsters. And then you always have this advantage. Any tension, it's your opponent who should be afraid of like exchanging it because your bishops are going to be so powerful. Rook f3, yeah, he's also is trying to prepare himself. But to be honest, I can't even play knight d4, take it with this pawn, then exchange here. Like, this bishop is going to be stuck forever. And if he takes, this is just helping me. Yeah, I think it's time. It's time to begin my huge counterplay over here. This move rook f3 like tempted me to do that because the rook is so unlucky here, absolutely useless. And the bishop on h6, really stuck. Still, of course, I need to find a way to make progress. Maybe d5 is kind of a threat right now. On the one hand, I don't want to allow this knight e5. Maybe I should start with bishop f6. Yeah, rook e1 is very reasonable. Now that I think of it, maybe I should have even, before playing knight d4, be more patient and start with bishop f6. Because now he understood where his pieces belong. For example, after bishop f6, this rook would be very useful. He can play knight d6 in the end, and I don't think I can punish him for it. Which means I need to be more flexible. I need to start with queen c7. That would connect my rooks over here. Then I'm ready for bishop f6. He does have the move e5, though. Maybe I do need to play d5. because I really don't want to allow him to make use of this bishop. Yes, he can play bishop g5, and that's what he does. But that has certain drawbacks, like his pawn structure is not great now. I think I can just take. Either he takes with the rook, and then he gives up this huge diagonal for my bishop, or he takes with the pawn, and this is a passer. His knight still cannot go forward, and all I need to do is just fight for the f-file. And his pawns are going to be weaknesses. I mean, d5 is also an option. Now he cannot go to e5 since his pawn is gone. So he has to either go backwards, which would allow me again to open up this diagonal for the bishop, or he has to take, which would lead to the same. I do need to be a little bit careful with the king myself. But still, I think, this pawn is cool. Opening up the position should be good for me. What is my alternatives? Rook f8. But he plays rook f1, that doesn't really change anything. I'm gonna go ahead with d5. This is the most active move, and I always teach you to play as active as possible, start with the most active opportunities for yourself, so that's what I should do too. And I feel like this bishop on d5 would control so much. Very, very cool one. Now he basically has to take, right? Because both of these rooks are hanging. He can go backwards, but that is even worse. So you always want to do as much as possible with the tempo. By the way, it's kind of a checkmate idea threatening at some point, right? Because my queen is controlling all of that, but if he leaves this third rank, then queen g3 is very powerful. And he is not in time. It might feel like if you imagine this queen coming to f6, then my king would have some difficulties. But how on earth do you do that? You don't have time for that. Meanwhile, I'm already ready to create some immediate problems for him. He should play rook f1 and then maybe queen f2 and try to hold on to it. But it's very passive, which shouldn't work. For example, after rook f1, I can just go queen g3. And I don't think you can go into the rook's endgame. Like, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take this, and thanks to this pawn, I should just win the endgame. Yeah, he goes for that. That is the best move. But I like queen g3. That creates new problems. I don't think, at least I don't want to believe that he has time for that. Like, that feels very unreasonable. Hopefully d3 is just winning the game immediately. Maybe it's not, to say the least, I can just grab the pawn as well on g5. I can even give a check first, although that has drawback, queen f2. Queen to d2. So he's afraid about going to the endgame, that's why he doesn't play that. And if I take, then probably his idea is to play something like queen f4 and trying to give a perpetual check. But does he have a perpetual check? Let's say I take, or take with the bishop. Queen f6, king g8. I don't see any more checks. I control this diagonal. And I need just one tempo, queen e3, queen back, and that is game over. What is his point after queen takes? Maybe it's knight takes a5. But then, at least again, I can go into the endgame, which feels to be completely winning, because this knight doesn't even go back. And alternatively, I can just go back to g3 as well. The knight has 0 moves to go. So try to understand your opponent's ideas, but then don't be afraid of him, right? If it's really dangerous for you, do something about it in the most active way you can. If it's not dangerous, then just go ahead with your own plan. Most active opportunities. I don't have any checks, but that is the capture. Very powerful one. It's not really about the pawn. It's about the stability of this knight. Knight d6, you might say, but just queen e3. Exchanging the queens like that, extra pawn, no danger for the king, and the pawn is just gonna promote. I now potentially have even two passers here, like these two. Once the knight is away, I'm gonna play c4, c3, and how on earth are gonna stop me? These G's, these 3 pawns against 2 are absolutely not dangerous. Knight to b6. That's interesting. It's like saying that now I cannot play queen e3 because at least he's attacking. But on the other hand, what on earth the knight is doing on b6? I can just go somewhere, and next move I am threatening queen e3 check. Does he have any ways to create threats? Well, both of those moves I can stop with queen e3. Otherwise, where can this queen go where it creates threats? I don't see a square. And I even control everything with my queen, like no rook f7 is possible. This queen can come back if needed. So that was an interesting chat. I just thought about the move king h1. I wanted to say it's not possible because there is still a pin here. The bishop is still very strong, which means queen takes h3 is possible. And now I can definitely go ahead and transform my advantage going into the endgame. If I take with the rook, he has this check. Is it a problem? Well, I need still to be a little bit careful, like, you know, something might happen. If I take with the pawn, then he goes back here, and it must be winning, of course, but I don't have that many extra pawns. Let's be more brave and go here. Once I get rid of the g5 pawn, he doesn't have any checkmating attacks anymore. Checkmating threat, so like rook g3 is a powerful threat, for example. And of course, at some point I need to push. Once you have passers in the endgame, you want to push it forward. That would create a lot of difficulties for the opponent. Maybe you are not even gonna promote it necessarily, but you're gonna distract his pieces. But sometimes you can even promote, like let's say he takes, I play d2, and if he tries to stop it, I'm gonna play rook e1 and d1. But I need to be careful with some checks over here. Check in a fate. No, I should be able to escape, right? Well, not that simple, because knight d5 is gonna be a fork. Yeah, it's very tricky, especially if you have to deal with the knight. So probably I just play bishop e4. Check and just go away. And then rook g3 is still coming. And d3 is still coming. Once I play d3, I kind of threaten rook e1 and d2. Okay. Yeah, you might feel that something dangerous can happen here, but I don't see it. Rook f8 just here. And then the rook is hanging, so you need more moves. So I want to play d3. I want to distract him so that he is not that free with his pieces over here. He has to keep an eye on my pawn. And if he plays rook d6, then okay, then I can play rook e2. Again, d2 is a threat. Rook g2 is a threat. Yeah, he wants to place the knight over here. How dangerous is it? That might be actually dangerous if I'm not careful. Because he plays knight f6 and then rook d8 check, and then he starts checking me forever. If I'm not careful. So it's never too late to spoil your game. Be very careful. How can I stop that? I see another idea. He has knight f6 and rook d7, and that is not even an idea to make a draw. He wants to actually checkmate me. Yeah. This is powerful. Maybe I was too optimistic with the move d3. Was needed to stop the guy first. I can play bishop f5, knight f6. And then if I play bishop f5, then d7 is not available to him. So I can play something like king g6. Well, bishop f5 actually solves most of my problems. I like this move. He can never give me checks from here. Right. So now what is the threat? If there is no threat, I can even just continue going forward. Or maybe I want to play king g7. Yeah, you see, I'm trying to be as careful as possible. I think it helps. Like, even if I get here, there is no way he can create any danger for me. And he cannot really be that free with his rook because d2 is coming every time. And the pawn is even conveniently protected by my bishop, so I don't need to babysit it every time. Although he can play g4. But to say the least, I can take it. Okay, he actually goes away. But then he doesn't have this square, which is also good. So I can just check, king f8, check, king a8, check, king d8, and then there are no checks anymore. So I'm gonna play d2. Now there is no way to stop. Like, if you go backwards, I have rook. Maybe if he thought he's gonna just play rook d6, and I don't have d2, but I have rook a1, check, and d1. Always start with checks, remember? Rook c7, goes to f8. Hopefully I didn't blunder. Ah, wait, remember that? Yeah, here it's not possible. That knight d5 idea I mentioned before, it's important not to blunder it, but I don't think it's even possible. Just king d8. Okay, now I can take. So here is exactly how you use this powerful opening to crush everyone under 2000 ELO as black. In this playlist, you can learn so much more about how to handle different variations. 10-day opening master right now on sale, full months of live coaching with me for free. The link is in the description.